Shalom family, how are you guys doing? It's 8:30. Today is Thursday, and we are on day 6 of learning about what to put on and what to put off. Day 6 is all about selfishness. And so we're going to have a few verses we're going to look into just for the deepening and clarity of Yahuwah's word. And his word speaks for itself. But I'm here to just bring these scriptures, as I always say, into remembrance for us and to just allow us to grow how we should be growing efficiently. And so I pray this is a blessing for you to hear, especially during this hour, as we are seeing many different situations in the world against, with the enemy and within, our communities as well. A lot of people are very, very far from Yahuwah. So we all have to put some things off and reevaluate ourselves, because sometimes when we are selfish, we are not looking after the interests of Yahuwah or of others. We are self-seeking and looking after our own interests. And when that happens, that's what selfishness is, and it leads to other sin. So as always, this is for edification. No one should be getting mad at the scriptures that Yahuwah put in his, prophets' hearts to share. And I am just resharing them, through a video. No one should get upset. If it convicts you, that means you are being, warned about maybe something that you need to put off. And then what we do is we correct, we repent. So this should be something that we are embracing. We shouldn't be fighting and getting upset when people share the truth of Yahuwah's word. It's not Akilah-YAH's word. It is not anybody else's word, but Yahuwah's word. Okay? And it's sharp and it can sting if we are, guilty of something. But he chastises the ones he loves. Yahuwah loves you. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're in the truth. And it's because you want to know what I have to say about what to put on, what to put off. And that shows your intention to learn. So listen and take what you want to take out of it. And if it's not for you, then we can still love anyway, right? We can be kind anyway. So Philippians 2:21 is the first verse we're going to talk about. And it says, "For everyone looks out for their own interests and not for the interests of Yahushua HaMashiach." We know what his interest was. His interest is for us to be his disciples and to spread his basora and to tell people that good news of what's coming, to get people to be baptized in his name and to repent and to serve the Father. And that is what his interest is. But for some reason, we constantly, because we're humans and we're in the flesh, and when you're in the flesh, you are a sinner. Even if you are claiming to be righteous, we all fall short. Whether it's something we're thinking, something we're doing, something we're saying, we are just perfectly imperfect. And Yahuwah loves us and he corrects us. And so I'm here to just share this. And so we know that many people are doing things that are not the interest of Yahushua HaMashiach. They are doing their own interest. We have to make sure that before we show face, before we post, before we do anything, we consult with Yahuwah. Because when you move in the flesh and you do things that maybe Yahuwah didn't tell you to do, sometimes there's consequences for that. Yeah, there's all the time consequences, family. And sometimes these consequences, they might take a while for you to come, but they're going to come. So when we operate under love and more importantly, when we operate under the Ruach HaKodesh, we won't have to deal with selfishness, because the Ruach is our guide. The Ruach has fruits that are visible to all that see. The Ruach is one spirit that belongs to all of Yahuwah's people, all his children. So it doesn't matter what color the person is, what tribe they're from. One Ruach is what we're under. So if you have selfishness, you are basically going against the Ruach. That is scripture, family. Selfishness is set against the Ruach HaKodesh, period. So we have to put these things off so that we are not going against ourselves. Because if he said this is something that he will put in us to abide with us, to comfort us, to teach us, and that would be the sign that we are his. And now we're operating against this free gift he gave us, then we are hurting ourselves. As much as we think we're hurting other people, we're just hurting ourselves. It's grievous, and it causes all forms of negative aspects to start developing in our lives. Remember how we talked about bitterness was like a root that festers and grows and consumes the body? Well, guess what? So is selfishness. All these things are roots that has to grow. If you operate in negativity, once you operate under the Ruach HaKodesh, he is going to make sure that you are cleansed of all of this, because he is going to guide you. A lot of us have a hard time with following simple instructions because we are used to doing our own selfish things. You're used to being your own boss. You control it's your thing, it's your this, it's your house. But we need to start humbling ourselves very quickly, because when we do that, we show that we don't need Yahuwah. And so now you're going to be dealing with these different spirits, right? The spirit of selfishness and stuff. And so you're operating against Abba Yahuwah. He don't play that. There's only so far you're going to get before he humbles you very quickly. And there's a lot of people that are selfish, even the mainstream celebrities and idols. I mean, all of them are filthy rich. Some of them they may not be filthy rich, but they have a good amount of money, enough to go around to help poor, impoverished countries and people, right? Enough to show like that there is no homelessness in this land and that there is no starvation. But because of selfishness, which is belonging to Hashatan, they are not doing these things that please Yahuwah. They have allowed these negative roots to grow. And so that's what they do. We, as set apart, peculiar people that belong to Abba Yahuwah, who is righteous, we know that we have to deny ourselves always, and that we burden with people. Being selfish is not considering people's emotions. Being selfish is not considering people's circumstances, not meeting them where they're at, and just moving ahead of the Ruach HaKodesh and just allowing your flesh to move and dominate. So we have to just be careful and mindful of that, family. And that was Philippians 2:21, and we have some more verses coming out of Philippians. We have Philippians 2, verse 3 to 4 as well. And it says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Vain meaning empty, worthless. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. So again, with Philippians, we didn't go out of the book, but we're in an entirely different verse. And he's still pressing on this selfish stuff. It's important to know that if it was talked about within the scriptures, then our people have dealt with this, right? We know there's nothing new under the sun. And so being warned of this by, our ancestors, or by, these ancient apostles and, leaders, we should heed to what they're saying because they have seen it first. And so to be teachable and to have discipline in the word would mean that you are wise and that you are keeping Torah, which means instruction. A lot of us aren't taking these instructions. A lot of us are just saying we follow the truth and that we serve Yahuwah, but we're not keeping the commandments, and we're not valuing these words that are so important for our salvation. We have to understand that. Now let's look at the consequences. There has to be consequences for every action that we do that is not of Yahuwah. And this is just why he's so just, because he doesn't allow people to get away with these negative ways. Okay, family? That would be unjust if he did that. But because we have a loving and just Alua, one who is operating under love, but is the creator of both good and evil, we need to make sure that we are fearing him, and not in the scary way, but fearing as in being respectful and honoring him and his word. Okay, the same way that you fear your parents, knowing that they have control, they're the ones that gives you the okay to do things and stuff. We need to do that. We have to understand he is our heavenly father and creator, but he gave us earthly parents that are assembled on earth on what's expected from us in heaven. And a lot of us ain't getting it right on earth. A lot of us aren't getting it right because of how we're operating. There's a lot of this that's going to increase during these days. And 2 Timothy 3 verse 3-4 tells us that people will be lovers of themselves. That's a narcissistic person. Someone that loves just themselves, that's narcissistic. That's prideful. That's conceited. Lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive. Now we know abusive is an umbrella term, and there can be emotional abuse, right? When you abuse someone, not physically, but abusing them by using negative words and actions that will affect their emotions. So if you're someone that is doing things, operating under selfishness, bitterness, hate, lack of love, and it's causing people to cry, it's causing people to be brokenhearted, it's causing people to not want to pray like they used to, it's causing people to maybe want to depart from the truth because they didn't expect all these negative things. It is really going to cause confusion and lead people astray. There have been so many people that have said, wow, I didn't realize that when I came into the truth, there would be so much wickedness. This is no different than when these people operate in these churches or better yet, in religions. We are supposed to be set apart and peculiar. How are we going to be peculiar, which means different, strange, out of the ordinary, if we are being exactly how the other people are? There would be no way to differentiate us, family, if we have that same flesh-like and the same motives as they do. This is why there is only a remnant of people that are going to understand this and get saved. Because people are saying everything out of their mouth, but they're not doing anything that they're supposed to do. Let's continue. So emotions, abuse can affect your emotions. It can be verbal abuse, right? Slander, it can be actual cursing, right? Even the passive aggressiveness, those slick comments, those slick posts people do, they are spiritually whipping your butt, okay? That's what they're trying to do. But it is only hurting themselves and exposing what spirit operates through them. Because family, that is not how Yahuwah's children do. We don't do that, right? Yahusha showed us how, I say this all the time, he washed Judas's feet, knowing Judas will betray him. Kindness, love is what we put on, family. Disobedient to their parents. Remember, I told you that we were given earthly parents as a way to get it right so that we know how to treat our actual heavenly Father. How we treat our earthly parents matter. We were told to honor them, that our days be long. There's a lot of people that got problems with their parents. You know, everybody's different. People have situations. I am not here to convict you of anything or judge, but we have to stop being selfish, and we have to have self-denial. You know, we have to make sure that we are not thinking about how just we feel. Maybe think about what your parents went through. They're a total different generation than we are. And maybe they have a lot of hurt they're dealing with, and maybe we're getting the backburn of that. Who knows? Family, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving. If someone forgives you, or if someone went to bed and did not allow themselves to sleep, with wrath in their heart, you wouldn't see the continuing every day, keep putting on that lack of love. It would have been put to death when that situation happened. Whatever you went through with your boss, your coworker, your parents, your spouse, your child, whatever it is that we all go through in real life, in order to forgive that person, you would have to put whatever happened to bed, put it to death. Never bring it back up again. We are always somebody, we love to hold on to those negative emotions. We love to throw it in people's face. We love it. We don't let nothing go. We just let it fester and fester. And then we end up literally getting sick, right? It makes you sick. And so you are hurting yourselves, and Hashatan's loving it because he wanted us to move in that type of way. And this is why I'm telling us all, including myself, to put off anything negative. Many of us are doing just fine, but we are being tempted by the accuser, who is Hashatan. We are being tempted to operate in the flesh, or to boost down, right? To lower ourselves to people's levels. But set apart family, righteous ones, do not fall for this trick, because the enemy just wants to tempt you so that you sin, so that then after you sin, he can point the finger again and say, look, you did this, you did that. That's all the accuser does. The accuser will constantly point out any flaws, any thorns, anything you do that's wrong, and lie and twist things. But we know what the word says, right? So we have to be cautious of coming into agreement with some of these unfair, very, very unfruitful ways that some people have. Slanderous. No one should slander people. What does slander mean, family? I know what it means, but I'm going to read you the definition. We have to allow people to know that we have to meet them where they're at, right? The definition of slanderous. And this is a term often used in courthouses because that's how big of a deal it is. You can't just go around saying that somebody is away or does something and it's not true. You can be held accountable for that legally. Yahuwah don't play that either. You cannot spiritually unalive your brethren flinging words around, especially if it's not true. If the Ruach HaKodesh did not tell you to do that and your flesh told you, you're going to have to reap what you sow when you do that, family. Why do we constantly hurt ourselves when we don't act righteous? Slander is the action or crime. What do we say when we ask them, forgive us our crimes and our trespasses, as we forgive those who crimed against us? You can't say that and then go and be like this, because now you have a vain prayer. He says he doesn't like when people pray vain. You can't just pray something and be like, okay, yeah, now I'm good. And then you go back to doing no. Yahuwah searches the heart. He knows you still wicked inside. He knows that you still can't wait to attack somebody else spiritually. He knows everything. He knows the future. He knows the past. He knows the present. He created you. He knows how many hairs on your head. Can't sit there and speak false spoken statements, damaging a person's reputation. That's something the enemy does. The enemy will do that. The enemy will point their finger at you and say all types of damaging things that is not true about you. Yahuwah tells us that's selfish to do and that we should put these things to death, family. So let's go back into the scriptures of 2 Timothy 3, verse, 1 second. And let's finish. And I'm going, because there's so many individual words. So what we should all do is write down the word and the definition. And then we need to meditate on that so that we make sure we're cautious with how we're moving in real life, right? So family, the next word is without self-control. People that don't have self-control blurt things out or do things that they don't have control of doing. It just comes out because they allow the flesh or that unclean ruach to take over their temple. It's demonic oppression. I wouldn't say possession, because if they truly have given their life to Yahuwah, you are, his, right? At least we need to have faith in that. Now, but if you're doing things that are not of Yahuwah, you're being oppressed by Hashatan. You're listening to familiar spirits. You're not operating under the spirit of truth. There is no wisdom in people that do things this way, family. Brutal. Lovers of, not lovers of good. People that are doing good, and then they have to go through these persecutions. Physical, emotional, verbal persecutions. But they didn't do nothing but good. Yeah, people out here, they're helping their brethren. They're empowering their brethren. People sharing the truth. Letting us know, what articles come up and, take to warn their brethren all over the place. And then you have people that will sit there and say that they're wrong for what they're doing when they're not doing nothing wrong. They're being good. So this is all the things we should be putting off. Treacherous, rash, conceited. You ever met someone that was conceited? They was all about self-idolization. Everything about them, they might sometimes glorify the Father, but most of the time they want to be glorified. And these are the people we have to be careful about, because then it becomes idolatry. And I had warned us when I did the video on idolatry. I said how careful we need to be when it comes to being under conceited people's pages or their content. Be mindful of how people talk. You have to, just like he tells us, line upon line, precept upon precept, when we're reading the word, be line upon line when you're abiding with people, when you're dwelling with people. Make sure that they're moving right. No one should ever have to be so conceited. We should be glorifying and giving all esteem to the Most High Yahuwah and his son Yahushua HaMashiach. It says lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of Yahuwah. What do we mean by pleasure? Let your mind stay righteous. It's not just sexual pleasure, sexual immorality. This is more about the pleasure that you get, or the relief that you feel when you do something in the flesh. When you get back at, when you get even with people, right? Your flesh will have you go and do something. You're like, yeah, I got it back. Yeah, I got him back. Yeah, I feel good now. Right? And so you have this pleasure. But in reality, it's hurting you, because Yahuwah did not tell us to do anything that has to do with pleasure. We are to put on self-denial. And that looks like passing plates when it comes to fasting. It looks like giving the shirt off your back for your brethren, maybe giving your last $10 towards a good cause. We have to make sure that we are not allowing ourselves to play it safe all the time. You have to do what's right in the sight of Yahuwah. And when he is not looking, which he is always looking, but when man is not looking, even in private, you do what's right. Many of us in private, we are lifting up names at the throne of grace. We are asking Yahuwah to forgive people. We're asking Yahuwah to intercede and to offer breakthroughs on behalf of so many people. And there is no need for them to know, because it is between Yahuwah and the person that is praying, that warrior out there. And so when you want to do alms and prayer and public and stuff, when it should be a private thing, right? We don't do that for men to see. So many of us we're cursing the wrong people. We are hating the wrong people. So we have to be mindful, make sure we moving right, family, because when you don't move right, you hurt yourself. And we cannot continue to do this. No, I love you all. In real life, I do. I'm sorry, we're through YouTube, but in real life, I love you all. And we have to stop this. And the same way I teach you guys, I teach my grandparents, my mother, I be ministering. You should see me. I can talk for hours ministering to my family, because they are from a totally different generation. And I'm working diligently to plant seeds in my loved ones, and for you all that don't know me in real life, but can only see me this way. And may Yahuwah reveal and expose who are real and true loving people and who are not. And he shall do that. Family, I'm going to pause the video and we're going to finish the rest of the verses. I need to put my daughter in the bed. Thank you. Okay, family, I'm back. We are at James 3:16, and it reads, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder in every evil practice." So that lets you know right there that those that operate under this type of spirit of selfishness, we're going to also be able to find other evil practices. Think about all the evil practices in the world. Some people operate under witchcraft. Some people operate under, I don't really know all of them, but just an evil practice, a practice that hurts us, that hurts their brethren, people that do evil and practice evil. So where you have envy and selfish ambition, ways, desires, you will find disorder. Right? So nothing is in order. It's disorder. Nothing, righteous and, just orderly. We know Yahuwah is orderly. So if you find disorder, these are all things that are not of Yahuwah, family. And this is why we have to just start paying attention to certain things. Yahuwah is consistent. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He tells us nothing new is under the sun. With disorder, it's chaotic. You can't follow with it. You're over here with this and then you hop over here. One day it's love, one day it's hate. And so we have to make sure that when we see those things, you go to Yahuwah and you say, Yahuwah, please, if it be your will, if there is anything around me that is not operating under your Ruach HaKodesh, remove me from these things that you may allow me to be protected, and that no weapon formed against me or my family shall prosper, Father. And then you could also ask him to expose or point things out to you that sometimes when you are operating under the spirit of love, sometimes we have like such a good heart and we see everybody so good. But see, you have to have discernment. You have to really look at things with your spiritual eyes and listen to the way people talk and the way they are, because there is a lot of people that, they're not saying what's really in their heart. They might be trying to teach something, but in their heart, they're just trying to sow discord and to get you to even sin, because you have to stop going into agreement with certain things, family. Yahuwah's word is the truth. And so when we doing all these other things, you are not operating under the Ruach HaKodesh. You are operating in a selfish, ambitious way. And so we have to put on that self-denial and we have to make sure he is guiding our steps. Okay, family? Sometimes he will give his people, a topic or something to speak on in that hour. And so when it's the truth, Yahuwah gives witnesses, because he even told the disciples, you guys always seeking after a sign. So he gives signs because it was hard for people to have just the faith of the unseen things. So he will give you a sign. He'll give you a confirmation. So you'll have this person over here talking that truth, the next person saying the same truth, this one. And so now it's Yahuwah who is speaking and moving through people, because he will give you those confirmations. He will give you those 2, those 3 witnesses. Hey, family. So we're going to finish off with John 12:24, which says, "Verily, truly, I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many fruits." Family, this verse is telling us that we need to die in order to gain. We need to die to ourselves. We need to deny ourselves in order to follow Yahushua HaMashiach. We have to do this. And so it doesn't matter how pleasurable and how good it feels to operate in these negative ways. We need to put those things to death. We need to die. We need to fall to the ground and die. We need to fall to the ground and worship in submission and die. And then we will be giving more fruit when we follow Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the only way to be. he did it himself. Did he not dwell amongst us, teach us the way, and then had to die in order to ascend? We are going through this same type of way in a certain way, if you guys understand. Do we need to be on the cross or on the stake? No, but we have to die. Everything we do is putting it off, putting to death these things, denying ourselves all these worldly things, these lustful things, these carnal things, in order to be like Yahushua HaMashiach. He was not selfish. He was someone that went out his way for his brethren. He even did things for people that were selfish, that people that did betray others. So who are we to say we're too good to do that? We need to do it too, but we need to use wisdom. When someone is not operating the right way, we fight back spiritually. And that doesn't mean that you fight back to hurt them. We don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against these dark principalities and rulers and all of that. That's who we're fighting back. And he showed us that his word is the weapon. So stay in the word, abide in the word, use the authority that you were given, and you are good. You're covered, and you have to have faith in that. And as so many are saying right now, this is only the little bit of wars that will increase, right? These are testing periods. This is the test so that we build up that endurance, so that we persevere until the end. We know our battle is won, but we got to get that thick skin. We got to get that armor. If you're going through any type of warfare right now, if you feel like you're being defeated right now, stay encouraged. Yahuwah only gives tests. Actually, you know what? He gives us all tests, but those that don't submit to his Ruach, they are living the time of their life right now. They are fulfilling the lust of their flesh right now, right? They're okay with being how they are, stagnant. But for the ones that want elevation, for the ones that are operating under that Ruach HaKodesh, we are probably fighting a battle right now. But that battle is only there to create endurance, to add to your faith, and to develop a sense of assurance, to know that Yahuwah won't forsake you, because you're going to see that you're going to overcome whatever it is you're going through. He wants to see where your heart is, how you operate, how you handle things. He wants to see you go to him in prayer and not have feet swift to gossip and talebear. There's monitoring spirits. He wants to see how you handle these monitoring spirits. He wants to see how you go to him and not slander your brethren. He wants to see how you pray. He wants, instead of retaliate, he is looking for righteous people. Those are the people that he is looking for. And so you need to be encouraged to follow the way. Just because you're being attacked does not mean you did something wrong. See, the enemy is a liar. He'll have you thinking like you're going through all these troubles and burdens because you're up to no good and you deserve. Yahuwah will love you and still put you through the fire, and you won't be burned. He will put you through that water, and that water will never overtake you. Yahuwah is going to put all his loved ones through that. That is the challenge to ascension, the challenge to elevation and growth. Stay vigilant. Stay armored up. The best is yet to come for us. Shalom.